Oh yeah.
Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are now live from Grenfell Tower. Sadly, because of the time of night and the fact it's been turned off, you can't actually see it. But this building, scarily, caught fire back in June, 8 years ago, 2017, killing 72 people. And as it quite says there, 8 years, wait of grief, wait for justice. On the 14th of June 2017, due to a fire on the 4th floor in flat number 12, involving a fridge, which caught fire out on the balcony. Due to the cladding on this very building, it spread like literal wildfire, engulfing the entire place in less than 3 hours. Cladding, which was never fire tested, was never ever supposed to be in the building in the first place due to the fact it wasn't fire tested. And as a result, now that building sits like that. On the top floor of this building, there are still human remains up there. And now our fabulous government of this country have decided it is time for this building to come down. What do you think? Do you think that was the right thing to happen, or do you think that it should still be left as a memorial for those people who sadly lost their life? There's currently a poll on this very live stream. I'm interested to know what you guys think. Because quite frankly, I personally feel it should still stay standing as a memorial for those people. Because it's respect. Well, that's what you guys think. Bear with me, guys. So your poll is now very much live. And you're right, Brittany, they will apparently dismantle this building. But I don't think it's right. I don't think there's any reason to pull this building down at all. Not when you've got people's remains still very much at the top of this building. People who had no chance of getting out of the building when it was on fire. Because you've got to think, once that caught fire, they stood no chance. Being right up there. Should never have happened. That building should not be pulled down, in my opinion. And as you know, we have now done 2 feature-length videos regarding this horrendous tragedy. You've also got to remember, one of the people that died in this horrendous tragedy was an unborn child. Didn't even get a chance at life. And due to where the family of that child lived, through no fault of their own, they stood no chance of getting out of there. What do you guys reckon? Because at the end of the day, I want to know what you guys think. I want to know your thoughts, your opinions. Because frankly, I say leave it as it is. Leave it as a living memorial. Leave it well alone. and out of respect for the people that died on this building, surely there should be somewhere for people to come and remember them people. You just got to look around the place. The amount of people who leave flowers, leave posts on the wall, right on this wall, continuously. There's hundreds of people who do that. All over this place. It's just the memories and the reminders of, one, how many people died. Like it says there, it's a crime scene, but guess what? No one's been arrested for it. Why? Oh yeah, because nobody wants to take responsibility for the fact that 72 people lost their life. It's disgusting. And I think that post there, my friends, says it all. Grenfell Tower should not come down until justice has been served. And it's true. It shouldn't. Why would we allow people to pull down a building where people lost their life through no fault of their own? But I also think it's disgusting the amount of people that try and blame the fire service that night. People who literally risked their own lives saving other people or trying to save other people, but purely because they were told on the phone to stay put because the apparent fire doors fitted on that building. Stay put, you'll be safe. London Fire Service didn't realise at the time the fire was actually spreading on the outside of the building, hence why they were told to stay where you are. When they then realised the intensity of that fire and how much it was spreading, that's when they were all told to get out. It was too late by that point. Completely too late by that point. It's heartbreaking. To those who lost their lives, we promise never to forget. To those who survived, we promise never to forget. To those who bore witness, we promise never to forget. To the next generation, we must never forget. Together we will work to build a fitting memorial, one that will stand the test of time and act as a permanent symbol of remembrance, forever in our hearts. And it needs to be. We can't forget about the fact that this, we've got to remember, this was the worst fire in a residential building since World War II. Killing that number of people in such a short space of time, and then continued to burn for a further 72 hours even after the last person was evacuated. This burnt at a hotter temperature than the World Trade Center for a longer time period, and madly is still very much still standing. You just got to see the number of memorials all around the building, and yet the government think it's okay to put it down. I don't think it's right. I don't want to influence your guys' decision on the poll that's currently on this into thinking that my opinion should be your opinion. You guys are entitled to your own opinions. I don't know how many of you have been over it or visited this place or even like come and read all the memorials on this building. But I recommend if you get a chance to, come and do it. And yeah, I am getting choked up, and I get choked up because it's disgusting this happened. It should never have happened. It shouldn't happen again. I own a property in Manchester, again in a massive tower block, which bizarrely had a very similar cladding on that building as what they've got here. And then when that happens, it really does hit home when they then come and tear off all the stuff outside your own building, take off your balcony, etc., just to make sure that your building's safe. It happened in 2017, Brittany, not 2016. It was on the 14th of June 2017, if I remember rightly. Yeah, 14th of June 2017. Clearly written right there, look. 14th of June 2017, 8 years ago. Like, it's disgusting. It's horrible. And I'm shocked at the fact that the government want to tear down this building. I'm disgusted that money's more important than people's memories and people's remains. That's what I find horrifying. Like, there are people's remains right up the top of that building right there. But it's okay to put it down. Where's the respect? Where is the, like, humanity? Where's humanity? It's not right. This is a very prosperous borough we're in right now of, like, Kensington, yeah? Or South Kensington. And yet, they think it's okay to pull that down. I don't agree. Like I say, there's currently a poll on this very live stream right now. So far, it's got 1 vote saying no, leave it alone, do not pull it down. And I agree. I want to see what you guys all think, because realistically, like, people need to speak up. And I agree we should get a proper memorial, but then what do you do with the men and women and possibly children that are on the top of that building right now because it's unsafe to go up there and remove their remains? What do you do with them? You can't just, what, take all the protective coatings out of the building and just hope and pray they get blown off across London. That's disgusting. Like, that's not respectful. That's not a dignified way to do anything. So realistically, how do you take down a building where there is still the remains of people inside that building? Like, it's not right. It's horrible. It's horrific. It is an incredibly traumatic place to be. And I came here, I think, within 8 weeks of the fire the very first time. And you can still feel the heat. You can still smell it. And it was probably the worst thing to ever do in your life. And even on a hot day, you come around here and it just feels completely chilled. Why? Well, because there's dead people. That's someone's resting place. Like, for example, you wouldn't go to a graveyard and start digging up graves, would you? So why on earth is it okay to pull down a building? It's not. Simply, it's not okay. It's not right. But I want to hear your views. What do you all think we should do with this place? Because it's all very good me giving my opinions, but at the end of the day, it's down to you lot. Like, people's voices mean power, especially in a situation like this. Whether that means writing to your, writing to your MP or Prime Minister or whoever. Like, at the end of the day, we've got to do something. But again, as we were saying about people blaming, like the fire service, and they're going, well, the ladders don't reach up there. Well, I'm not being funny. Even if they did, what good's a ladder when you've got a building the size of that completely engulfed in flames from the outside? It's not like it burned down from the inside, it burned from the outside. And this is the reason why they reckon it's okay to put it down, because it's costing too much to maintain, etc, etc. Like, wow, what's more important, money or a dignified way to, like, see people actually get put to rest? Personally speaking, I would say it's a lot more important for people to have a dignified end of their life. Yeah? Look at this poor guy. Dennis Murphy, flat 111 on the 14th floor, Grenfell Tower, W1. Like, when you see that sort of thing, you actually then start reading people's names, it hits home that these are real people, ladies and gents. Real people who lost their life. For what? Just because they couldn't be bothered to test the outside cladding on a building because it costs too much money to do. That's not right. It's not dignified, is it? You know, what, we're going to pull down a building because we can't be bothered to spend any more money on it to maintain it and make sure, like, you know, it keeps standing. Sorry. Like, deal with it as far as I'm concerned. It's horrible, ladies and gents. Gone but never forgotten. Right. They're real people. They're real people's names all over this wall. Auntie Mary, forever in my heart. Love Sissy. Betty loves you always. Like, it's horrible. I mean, I think it hits home even further when you realise that, like, there's still, what, 40% of the people who actually survived that fire still living in temporary accommodation. What, after 8 years, they still haven't got an actual proper place to call home. That's not alright. That's not allowed. We're quick enough to go and put people that come over here for absolutely no reason at all on a boat and just go and shove them somewhere and give them houses, etc. But people that lost their life or lost their houses due to a fire, and it's not okay to give them a house. Like, come on, folks. We're not stupid in this country. We're not a bunch of absolute retards, yeah? Like, this sort of thing shouldn't happen. We shouldn't have people still living potentially on the streets or sofa surfing, etc., because they've got nowhere to call home. Look at that one, look. 5 years on, and it's still very much written up there. That's, what, 3 years old now? It's horrible, folks. I hate it. And you're probably thinking, if you hate it so much, why do you keep going back there? Well, because something needs to be done. And I don't want to see this place get pulled down. Because if you pull that down, where's the memories? Where do you literally, like, what do you do with the people who you can't go and rescue because they've all been cremated in their own homes? Imagine that, dying in your own house. It's horrible. For those of you who are watching the news that night, you'd have seen the people that actually jumped from that building to the floor in a bid to try and save themselves and ultimately ending their own life. Like, beggars belief, ladies and gents, that people think it's okay to pull this place down. Genuinely beggars belief. And it's horrific. It's horrible. It's scary to think that if there's places like this that burn to the floor because they didn't check their cladding before putting it onto a building, how many more places potentially could be the same way? I mean, look at that message there, says it all. London remembers. Yeah, we do. Because it's, I said, the worst residential fire to hit this current country, hit the capital city of this country, and to hit this borough since World War II. Like, look at them youngsters. All these youngsters' names. A 3-year-old, 5-year-old, a new baby. It's horrible. It's not allowed, folks. This sort of thing shouldn't be happening. We shouldn't have to keep doing live streams or feature-length videos about this fire just because some absolute plonker in number 10. Some absolute plonker in number 10 thinks it's completely acceptable to pull down essentially a living memorial for people who died through no fault of their own. It makes me sick. You all mattered. You're all loved. Your lives were precious, even if it did not seem like it. Humanity is the only way, and you will never be forgotten. On this day, the 14th of June, I want to share just how much I care. I love you. I mean, that's just from a concerned citizen. It says it all, doesn't it? Sometimes those words speak so much louder than anything else. And that is where, realistically, like, MPs, government people should come down and read all this. Because I think they might suddenly change their mind about getting rid of this building when they see the heartbreak from people that don't even live round here just come and pay their respects to people they didn't even know. It should be like that. I don't live in London anymore, but I've been down here like 7 times since that fire. Why? Because it needs to be spoken about. I've been down here with ITV and even members of my production ITV bursts into tears when they actually start reading the amount of messages to people, because it is absolutely horrific. To the 72 angels, I'm so sorry. You have failed by people who could have and should have done more. The government. You will never be forgotten. I hope you are all singing in the angels' choir and guiding us all down on earth. Rest in peace. Like, that's clearly from someone who didn't know someone specifically in this tower. And you don't have to know anyone here to be affected by it. I don't know people in this tower, but it's affected me. And will continue to do so. It's horrible. So far on that poll, we've had 1 vote for yes and 1 for no. But I can kind of see the pros and cons of both, to be fair. I mean, yeah, it costs a lot of money to keep it maintained, keep it standing, and keep it as an actual tower. I get that. But at the same time, out of the respect for people who you cannot remove from the top of that building, surely we should just leave it alone. Like, or am I just being thick? Like, because I'm not being funny. If it was me, it was my decision, I'd be like, yeah, leave it well alone. I don't care how much it keeps costing, how much it costs to actually keep the place standing. Leave it there. Because, you know, look at the memorial walk that happens every single year on the 14th of June. The amount of residents from this area who take part in that, the amount of firefighters who risk potentially getting a shout halfway through that, but they still come here and take part in that walk because a lot of them can't deal with what happened that night. And it's horrible. But you come and watch that, you see the solidarity, you see the amount of people who are just literally there to make sure that, like, no one forgets. I mean, scenes like this say, oh, this much evidence, still no charges. All those people quietly walking through the streets of London because they want justice for them poor people who lost their life, or those poor people who are still homeless, or living in shelters, or hostels, and everything else. Like, it's actually horrible. And then all you see is that building like that constantly. Can't show you too much through there because there's a man walking around, probably a security guard, making sure no one breaches it and tries to go in there. I'm not too sure why you'd want to, but yeah, it's horrible. I'll tell you something, that picture hits at home, because when that is lit up, to think that's how it lights up the night sky of London. Like, I don't know, folks. It's just really, really sad. I don't know how you guys feel, but I'm interested to know your thoughts, because it's horrible. But yeah. So it's not quite the sort of live stream we want to do. It's not quite a Monday Funday many of you would be expecting to have, and it's not quite as happy as most of them stuff we normally post. But how can you be when you just know that, like, through no fault of their own, 72 people lost their life in the most horrific, cruel, terrifying way possible, all because the local council, the local governors and everything else did not bother to test the cladding and stuff they signed off on, especially when it's that close to a leisure centre. I mean, look, it's not exactly very far, is it? Thankfully, it wasn't far enough to cause that much of upset on the night, and this place became a sanctuary for all those men, women and children who lost their house and became an overnight shelter and remained an overnight shelter for the best part of 3 or 4 weeks. Just goes to show how the community really will pull together when they need to. But shouldn't we be doing more now to save that building? To remember all those people? Like, I just don't get it. I really don't. I don't understand how the Prime Minister or governors or Prime Minister, members of Parliament just think it's acceptable to pull that down. And yeah, I get it's been 8 years and a month since it all happened, blah, blah, and all that kind of malarkey. I hear, you know, how everyone thinks it's long enough, it's time to move on and go on to different things, etc., etc. I hear you. I completely hear you, and I completely understand what you guys are saying. But what I'm not hearing is, what about the people left behind? Like, who come here for a little bit of sanctuary, for a little bit of like their time to grieve and remember different people, etc. Like, where do they get to go if this goes? What do they then do? What, just come and look at a horrible wall that, yes, it's got nice things all over it, don't get me wrong, but if the tower goes, how long before this goes? And then when these go, then what happens? Then how do you remember people? What do you do then? What do you do moving forward? All these questions, ladies and gents, really need to be answered and addressed completely, truthfully and honestly by all those people trying to make decisions about this tower before they even contemplate bringing that down. Because it is forever in our hearts. It should remain consistently being forever in our heart and carry on being so, because quite frankly, it was a traumatic event. Whether you're in London that night or not, it was traumatising. Whether you're watching it on the news or not, it was still horrific to see the amount of devastation being caused to a fire block in the capital city, especially when they then realise that we've got fire appliances that aren't up to the job. And that's not the fault of London Fire Brigade. That is, again, down to the government for not giving the people who work for London Fire Brigade the right tools for the right jobs, especially knowing we have hundreds of tower blocks all over the city. So how long is it going to be before this sort of thing happens again, and then other people don't get rescued? Then what happens? How long is it going to be before another tower block catches fire in a similar situation, and there's people that can't save themselves or they can't get out, and then we have a second situation whereby it's not Grenfell but it's somewhere else? Surely the government should be working proactively to make sure that this sort of thing doesn't happen again. Provide London Fire Service with numerous appliances that can be used should a fire break out in such a large building. I mean, nobody knew this was going to happen. No one expected it to happen. And if you're on the first 1, 2, 3 floors, you got out quite safely, quite easily. But then once you start going up and up and up, I mean, it's a big old boy. It's a monumentally massive, great tower block. And you'd think there would be some way of making sure that you had equipment to reach that floor at the top. And the reason why it's strapped up so neatly up to the very top Because there's people's remains up there you can't get to. I mean, look how nicely that is all wrapped in and kept nice and tight, so it's not being ripped apart by wind, etc. But those words there stay in your heart, don't they? Grenfell, forever in our hearts. Like I said, when it's properly illuminated at night, literally that is like a beacon belting straight up into the sky. And so it should be. That's the way it should be. But that hits hard too. All the names of the people who lost their life that night. Like I say, we'll keep campaigning on this because it is so close to my heart. I don't think it's fair that so many people lost their life and subsequently died. You guys are welcome to watch this live back as many times as you want and put as many comments, etc. as you want. If you want to hit the like button, smash the subscribe, turn on your notification bell, put a comment or just something, save it somewhere so you can come back and watch this, share with your family, have your own thoughts and opinions, and whack them in the comment section. Please be my guests. But honestly, it hurts to know that so many people died like needlessly, and it could happen again. That's the worrying thing. This may not be a one-off occurrence. This could happen again because other buildings have also been wrapped in similar sort of claddings. And all it takes, especially the heat we had recently, all it takes is one spark or one fag bar or something, and it could happen again. So therefore, we learned nothing from this disaster. Have we learned nothing from the fact there's still people living in temporary accommodation or in hotels or in B&Bs and stuff all across the county, all across the city, just because what? Suddenly they're not worthy of being given a proper home? I beg to differ, actually. Give these people a permanent, proper home where they can feel safe, start again, rather than giving it to all these delinquents who come over on boats and stuff claiming asylum and they can quite easily go other places. These people deserve it more. They've lost enough already. Let's not let them continually end up having upset, upheaval, of potentially moving from place to place to place to place to place until they've found an actual permanent home. It's not the way it should work. That's my thoughts anyway, folks. I'm going to leave this obviously on the channel tonight and forever moving forward. But hopefully you guys will get involved and let me know your thoughts. Until then, we'll see you again. We're back again on Wednesday live at 9 PM. Until then, take care. Bye bye for now.